We're going to Gumball is not what you think. Log in.
I have a conspiracy that will completely unravel the way you watch The Amazing World of Gumball. And today, I'm gonna tell you about it. Because, look around, no one else is here. Let's go through the basics first. What is The Amazing World of Gumball? Well, glad you asked.
Peak show. Peak
I'll
show.
explain.
Hey, Gumball was my favorite show going.
That was a peak show, peak thing. It was amazing when I was like 5.
You remember that episode where it's like the world's falling apart? So you got that one dude.
Yes, bro. That one dude with the remote or whatever.
Yeah. That was like the best episode
Yes.
Amazing with them.
I think that was like the last episode they did. It was like left on like a cliffhanger.
Have you watched the new season yet that they just put out? Like the remake?
Nope.
I think it's alright. It ain't that bad. I kind of like it.
The show might be a little harder to explain than I thought, but it's about a blue cat and orange fish who get into misadventures in the weird world of Elmore along with their family. But what if I told you that that wasn't the original premise of the show at all? That's right, the creator Ben Bunk, well, he originally pitched a very different version of the show.
I came up with this idea of a remedial school for cartoon characters. Which would happen in the real world. We discussed this with the exec producer, Daniel Leonard, and he felt that it was too dark a topic. Instead, we revised the whole concept, and I pitched it as this sort of archetype of a sitcom.
The show went on to be a huge hit with that premise, and it was just good family fun. Breathe out. Breathe out.
Yeah, some of it is
Most of it
traumatizing.
done. The show
Yeah, I
stayed
remember that
for
episode.
2.5 seasons.
Very dark.
Until everything
Yo, this is the one episode. This is where the dude pops up. The dude with the remote.
changed with...
Yes, bro.
In this episode,
remember this one
Gumball and
vividly.
Darwin and their school counselor, for some reason, they go on a quest to find a long-lost classmate of theirs who's been mysteriously deleted from reality. But on their search to find her, they uncover something that would change the trajectory of the whole show. They found...
Look, children, all the mistakes the world has ever made.
whatever the world deems a mistake is sent here into the void. But wait a minute. A place where mistakes are sent? That sounds a lot like the original premise of Gumball, doesn't it? I think Ben is kind of screwing with the executives a little bit here. After all, they made him change his entire show's premise, and now he's taking his new show, and he's slowly incorporating that premise back into it. He's making the show that he always wanted to in the first place. The Void is that place that Ben originally wanted to create for the failed cartoon characters and the ones that the world deems a mistake. Now you might be wondering, who is the world who deems these things? Well, we'll get to that, okay? We are just at the surface of this conspiracy, okay?
I remember this
Trust
whole
me.
episode.
It's time for part 2. Throughout the show, there are 2 characters who get sent off to the void, that being Molly and also Roy, or Reggie. It was Reggie.
Rob, my name is...
That is a dude with the remote.
Dude had so much personal
It's Rob.
beef.
I won't
Yeah, I know. It was like I'm pretty sure they said it was like his arch nemesis or whatever.
forget that now. It's locked. So that raises the question, why these 2 characters specifically? Why were these 2 people chosen to be deleted from reality? Well, what was Molly's defining characteristic?
Last night I had the craziest dream that my pajamas had pockets.
Everybody
and then
on
I woke
Dorgan.
up and they did have pockets.
Yeah, she was just like kind of annoying. She's kind of a nerd.
I cared about her.
That's what her whole thing was.
I mean, they bedroom, but then I remembered I was on vacation.
I don't even remember his character.
I don't remember it either. I just remember this episode.
She's boring. Yeah, she's really boring. Yeah, her stories are super boring and sad. She gets multiple episodes dedicated to that fact. So, her stories are boring. She gets sent to the void. Hear me out, okay? What if Molly represents the old Gumball TV show that Ben pitched that was canceled because the executives deemed its story too boring and too sad? Molly is a stand-in for the canceled stories Ben never got to tell. Okay, fine. Maybe
No, it
I'm
makes
stretching.
sense.
Maybe I'm stretching. Okay, like
Maybe you're stretching a little bit, bro.
man, that doesn't.
I'm not gonna kind of see
But
this
why
a little
was
bit.
Rob sent to the void? That's the question. Well, what was the original premise of the show? It was about failed cartoon characters getting sent off to a place. Well, what if I told you that Rob is a failed commercial cartoon? But you say to yourself, Carter, how can that be true? There's no
do you
evidence
mean?
of that. And you are right. Unless you are a psychopath like me and really did your homework. I take you to the season 2 episode of Gumball, The Internet. An episode from long before the Void Saga even began. There's a scene where we watch this very old man struggle with pop-up ads invading his computer, and for years, I just thought this was a funny little scene, you know, like, old people, you gotta love them, you know? Because they're almost dead. But now I realize that this one scene holds a crucial detail that unravels this entire amazing world.
What the?
Is he there?
Oh, he is
Rob's
there.
face is on one of the pop-up ads.
I never even thought of that.
That's a big deal. He is part of an ad, a commercial. Ricky is a failed commercial cartoon character. And do you want to know why he failed? Because no one can remember his name. The biggest fans of Gumball barely remember that he was in the early episodes of the show. But whatever ad campaign he was a part of...
He was actually in it? That's crazy. I don't remember that.
What?
That's actually
I'm
kind of
actually locked. I'm actually locked now because I don't even know.
This is actually a really good video.
It must have failed, thus how he became a failed commercial cartoon. What I am saying is that the original premise of Gumball, this remedial correction place, still exists underneath the new Gumball's world in the form of the Void. And it works to pull failed cartoon characters from the amazing world down into cancellation with it. But you know what? Let's dive deeper into Rob. When we first meet him in the episode The Nobody, he says some really interesting lines.
Because there is no place for me in this world. Because I am nothing. Because I have no reason to exist. I have nothing left of who I was.
Now, originally, when he said all of that, we all just assumed it was the Void that made him forget. But what if the reason that Rob has nothing left and he can't remember who he is because Rob was a character from the original Gumball show that was canceled? Mic drop. Oh, shoot. That's why Gumball and Darwin can't even remember his name in season 2. And they know him.
Gumball, Darwin! What's up, guys?
Hey!
Rich?
What if Rob doesn't have a purpose in this new world? Because he was part of an old one. A different show. And that's why the Void is so desperately trying to pull him back. He doesn't belong in this amazing world. He belongs in the canceled world, the show that never got made. Need more evidence that he belongs to a...
Well, this is actually kind of an amazing video. Like, I'm so locked into this.
When they find Rob in the Void, he's standing by a house that looks extremely similar to Gumball's. Almost like Rob was supposed to be the main character of this world, but it got ripped away. Which is also why, when he's confused as a nobody and forgets everything, where is the first place he goes? To Gumball's house. And he knows that they have a basement that they never knew about. Why? Rob was supposed to be the main character of the canceled Gumball show. It's the house he was always meant to live in as the main character of the original show before it all got retooled. And that's why Rob is always saying that he never wanted to be the villain. He was supposed to be the hero, the main character, until that show was taken away from him. Also, I'm about to say something that might come across a little bit silly, but let's not ignore the fact that this character is literally named Rob. As in robbed. Okay, but here is where this video is going to take another sharp turn, okay? I keep saying the world. The world is doing this, but who is the world? Well, ask yourself this, okay? Who canceled the original Gumball show? TV executives. And I believe that TV executives control this amazing world of Gumball because all of these characters are living inside a TV show. Well, I know that we all know it's like a TV show that we're watching, but is another.
Are you thinking what I'm thinking?
If what happens on TV happens to us, doesn't mean that...
This section will be quick, but it's rather important. The characters in this show, Gumball, Darwin, and whatever this thing is, none of them realize that they are on a TV show. But we know they are on a TV show due to episodes like The Signal, where their entire world is affected by bad satellite signal. Or you have the episode The Disaster, which I've talked about before in another video, where a TV remote can control their entire world. Or you have the season 2 finale where everything just resets because it's time to begin a new season. Not to mention the fact that none of the characters age, but they are replaced by new actors every few years. Also, in the very first episode of season 3, we see Gumball and Darwin's voices changing, and we learn that the only people that don't age are people on TV. And then what happens at the end? They get replaced by new voice actors, and they don't age.
This is so good writing, bro.
We're in the 1% of people.
Yeah, I mean, it was a really good show.
Or like a kid's TV show, bro. They're just obviously breaking the fourth wall. And I mean, when I was younger, like, I think I had no idea.
Now kids today are watching like Cocomelon and Spring.
We'll never grow old.
Not to mention the constant jokes about TV settings or changing channels. Like, yeah, they're on a TV show. And since their world is a TV show, who makes the big decisions? TV executives. They control what jokes get by, when episodes air, and sometimes even big story decisions. And sometimes when they get too controlling, they can rip the art away from the artist. And I think Ben has used this whole Void saga to tell a story about a battle between him as an artist and the network executives, and it has been under our nose this whole time. But now, let's actually go back in time. So as Ben got into season 6 of The Amazing World of Gumball in 2017, he decided that he wanted to make a Gumball movie to close out the entire show. He tweeted about it a lot as he tried to get the movie off the ground. So he wrote a cliffhanger ending to The Amazing World of Gumball, assuming that he'd get to make his movie.
That's why you
but then the execs began blocking him. And he began to realize that now his whole show was hurtling towards a massive cliffhanger ending that will never be resolved. And that's when something really strange happened. The show became aware of its own cancellation. But let's rewind a little bit in the show, back to an old character, Banana Joe's mom. She's a mom who's a banana. And she's also an oracle. And everything she paints comes true. Wow, if you have not seen the show, I sound like I'm on drugs right now. But back in season 3, she painted
that was a really good season.
Superior, better than SpongeBob.
Yeah, I think it is 100%. SpongeBob was just like mainly brain.
SpongeBob is brain rot now. Early seasons of SpongeBob weren't. They were actually really good. Later seasons like now, complete brain rot. They suck.
Yeah, I know. Same thing as Cocomelon, which is
Gumball's entire family trapped in the void, which foreshadowed that if the show was ever canceled, they would end up there. And now this family is now hurtling towards the very same fate of the original Gumball TV show. And somehow in all of this, Rob, the character inside the show, learned that the TV show was coming to an end. In the episode, The Future.
You have two choices. Live in ignorance about what's gonna happen here, or listen to what I have to say. It might just save your lives.
But like, there's never any explanation of why he knows the show is coming to an end. Like, why would he know this unless he was already part of another canceled show and has seen this happen before, and he sees it coming in this world too. Now, we're about to head back into stretch territory, okay? Just stretch it out with me. Yeah, get ready for some stretches. I think Rob is a surrogate character for the creator Ben. Ben sees the show is about to end with no proper ending, and there is nothing he can do about it. He cannot get Banana Barb to paint a new ending. This is the ending whether he likes it or not. And this episode concludes with a very haunting line.
See ya in the future, Rob! But there is no future.
Now that's already scary enough. Okay, but look deeper in that static. There's an outline of someone in there, someone in the static. But who is this man? Well, I believe this is a TV executive of the show. Someone who has the power to decide that there is no future. So then we get to the real finale of the show, the Inquisition. I'm very dumb. So what does that word mean exactly? Well, the definition is a judicial examination, usually before a jury. But an examination before a jury Almost like the studio execs are the jury. Will there be more episodes? Will the movie get made? It's all their choice. Also, what I think is interesting is there's a second definition, an investigation conducted with little regard for individual rights. As in no regard for human rights? As in no regard for the artist and what they want. So this season 6 finale is this new Gumball show being put before a jury.
That actually
for
doesn't
a
make
second
sense.
time,
I don't know.
like it was when he originally pitched it. So if this all is a trial, what ends up being the verdict? In the end, Rob, disguised as an old man, tries to stop this cancellation by transforming all the characters into live action. Rob says it himself. Transformation is the only way to escape to the other place before... And then
this guy had a good reason.
I'm still not 100% sure what the whole purpose of the transformation is, but my best guess is that he's saying the only way to escape being on TV is to transform yourself into a real human. You can't be canceled into the static of the void as a real person. But in the end, Rob fails to save them and therefore is cast back into the void where they've always said he belongs. After all of these years, he's still a mistake to this amazing world. And just as Rob fell into the void, it was the perfect encapsulation of the Inquisition. Because what did the execs choose to do right after? They canceled the movie and canceled the show. Damn. And that's why this tweet that Ben put out after the finale speaks volumes. Look at that wording again. Not my choice. It was not Ben's decision to end the show on a massive cliffhanger. Then whose choice was it? By the end of the show, control over Ben's world and Ben's art had been stripped from him. And now, with no control left, this would forever be the end of the amazing world of Gumball.
They predicted their own cancellation ending.
Yeah.
The revival.
Yeah, no, the video's not done. Years later, the industry had began to shift. Cartoon reboots started happening everywhere. And Gumball was suddenly under new leadership. And Mickey Mouse decided to reach his grubby little fingers all the way down and pull Gumball back up from the void. Gumball is announced to be revived in 2020.
Yeah, it's a new episode. I think that's what he's talking about. Yeah,
I didn't see it.
I just watched it. I was bored.
Who actually brought the show back? Because it doesn't seem like it was Ben who wanted to bring it back. In fact, after Gumball ended, he changed his bio to Did Gumball, now trying to do other things. So why would he sign back on? Well, we're gonna get to that. But while I do think that Disney wanted him back, he is the original creator after all, I don't think they wanted him to keep telling this weird void saga he was interested in. In fact, look at this comment from an executive talking about Ben when he signed back on. She said, Ben is going to bring Gumball back to where he belongs. I feel like that's basically her saying, yeah, we're going to get Gumball back to the family sitcom stuff. Not all this weird glitchy stuff. We're just going to keep it in line with really like season like 2 Gumball, more marketable. And that's basically what the wonderfully weird world of Gumball is. I like the show, but it's classic Gumball with no mention of the void or weird TV stuff or any of the things I guess the studio execs didn't really like about Ben's art. And much like the hole left in the hallway after the finale, the ideas Ben liked been covered over with new paint. But as I watched the new episodes, there is one very consistent theme across all of them. The hatred of executives and corporations. The new pilot is literally just a call out of greed. And what is the ending message of the episode? To eat the rich. And that's not even me like interpreting it or anything. He's literally a burger and they literally eat him. Also later in this season, there's a bit where Darwin sings some very interesting lyrics about how to get through life.
The hunger, the plunder, the new ruler, what we do is just trying to get through.
Ben is straight up telling us that Gumball is under a new ruler and he is just here to try to make something of this mess. And then by the end of season 2, the boys venture into basically what is hell. Man, the show is wild. And guess who would be down there in the flaming lake of fire? TV executives. Yeah, not subtle about that one, Ben. But as funny as that is, I was absolutely not ready for what they say when Gumball
Oh,
runs.
made it really old.
They look Gumball in the face, say your show is canceled, and try to grab him, implying
Okay.
that Gumball belongs in the underworld. He belongs dead. But alas, he's not. He's been revived. And when looking all of these details, it suddenly becomes very clear that Ben's ending has been stolen from him by executives twice. And now Gumball has become somewhat of a zombie on the surface, never being able to end. And then in the finale of season 2, when Gumball is walking, there are literally hands from the underworld reaching up to try to pull him down. Again, there is a hidden story being told in these episodes, and I refuse to believe that I am crazy, okay? But as this new show went along, something became clear. Cancellation may be coming once again. And I think that Ben knew there was no way he was going to let these execs kill his baby for a second time. So that's when I think he decided to break the rules and take Gumball back, where they said it didn't belong.
They brought it back?
Oh, yeah?
In the final episode of The Wonderfully Weird World of Gumball Season 2, so many words, they finally address the massive void cliffhanger in an episode called The Rewrite. Now, what I'm about to say is kind of all speculation about how Ben was feeling, but just go ahead and start stretching with me, okay? It really seems like Ben took this final episode to fight back against the execs, and he really tried to end this story on his own turf. The season 2 finale actually addresses things that happened in The Amazing World of Gumball, not the new zombified show. No, the old show. It really seems like Ben wrote this episode as a fight back to the TV executives. He said, screw it, I'm gonna reckon with the old show, I'm gonna reckon with the past, I'm gonna reckon with the void, I'm just gonna darn reckon. In this episode, Gumball and Darwin start to uncover the void secrets. Meanwhile, Rob and, I guess I'm gonna call this guy a Van Man? But Rob and Van Man try to write the proper finale script that Ben never got to write, the one that he was never allowed to write. And Ben figured even if this conclusion is told in a somewhat rushed episode, it needed to be told. And he did. He made all of this happen. Ben wrote the epic final battle between Gumball and Rob, even with Rob embracing being the tragic villain that he was never supposed to be.
Is it a good ending? It's the only one that can fix the plot hole.
And it was all headed to an amazing place until something bad happened. I think the executives found out what Ben was writing and they stopped it. And how do I know this? It was in the episode.
What do you mean studio notes?
The executives once again destroyed the conclusion that Ben wanted for his art. They replaced every aspect and then made Rob die with a fart joke. The execs once again killed Ben's vision of the ending. And look closely at one of the executives' notes on this final sequence. It reads, "Too sad." The same note that killed Ben's original show over a decade earlier. His battle for his art has come full circle.
This shit's insane.
Yeah, no. I'm actually so locked in. Is it over? Oh no, it's still...
While it seems that executives are making the final calls and the best Ben can do is really roast them in the episodes, I do think there is hope. At the end of the finale, Rob becomes the guardian of Elmore. He's finally given a purpose to defend this place when the execs inevitably try to pull it from air once again. And since Rob serves as a surrogate for Ben, I think this reveals why Ben signed back onto this revival. Ben was originally the version of Rob fearing the future, fearing the end of the show because he felt like he had no control. But maybe this episode is what he needed. At the end of the day, he still sees himself as the guardian and wants to protect its legacy the best he can. And he can't do that if he's not here. In the end, I believe Gumball is telling a secret story right underneath our screens. One about an artist fighting back against controlling executives, and about the characters whose lives are destroyed in the wake of that. From the very start, Ben has been battling the higher-ups to make the show what the artist himself has always wanted. And I hope eventually he gets to turn the ending into what he wants it to be as well. But you know what? It's not all doom and gloom, because Ben did leave us with one last secret.
What
In the
was it?
rewrite episode, there is a
Let us see.
license plate, and when you take those numbers and trace them back, they are actually the same numbers on Janice, Mr. Small's van, all the way back from the original The Void episode that started this whole saga. And what does that van have written on it? Believe. I believe that one day Ben will get to end this show the right way, which is however he wants it to.
Yeah, hopefully so. That was actually such a good
That was great, and I love watching the show and having absolutely no idea about that whatsoever.
video. Yeah. Now we go on to Wiki Reese.